The Danny Thomas Show is an American sitcom which ran from 1953 to 1957 on ABC and from 1957 to 1964 on CBS. A revival series known as Make Room for Granddaddy aired on ABC from 1970 to 1971. Episodes regularly featured music as part of the plot by Danny Thomas, guest stars and occasionally by other cast members. In March 1953, Danny Thomas first signed the contract for the show with ABC and chose Desilu Studios to film it using its three-camera method. Two proposed titles during pre-production were The Children's Hour and Here Comes Daddy. Synopsis. Thomas played Danny Williams, a successful comedian and nightclub entertainer at the Copa Club. Gene Hagen played his serious and loving wife Margaret, Sherry Jackson their daughter Terry, and Rusty Hammer their son Rusty. The show's premise dealt with Danny rarely having time to spend with his family and Margaret dealing with the children on her own. Margaret often felt neglected by her husband and on several occasions felt like leaving him. Margaret was a society woman and strict with the children but loved her family. Louise Beavers made several appearances during this era as the Williams maid, Louise Evans, and often found herself at odds with Danny and sided with Margaret in most fights between the couple. Nana Bryant appeared often as Margaret's kind mother, who Danny and the children were fond of. But Margaret, who had been raised by her aunt and uncle because of her mother being away on stage tours often, was not as warm towards her mother. Bryant died in late 1955 and her character simply stopped appearing. During 1955, Louise Beavers became ill and Amanda Randolph took over the role of Louise. Series changes. For its first 3 years, Make Room for Daddy garnered decent ratings but failed to make the list of the top 30 programs. Shortly after the third season finished filming, Gene Hagen left the show due to dissatisfaction with her role and frequent clashes with Danny Thomas. Thomas was upset with her for leaving as he felt the show would not last without her, but he decided to push on without Hagen. At the start of the fourth season, the series title was changed to The Danny Thomas Show. Both Thomas and producer Sheldon Leonard were faced with a serious dilemma: how to explain Gene Hagen's absence on the show. To have Danny and Margaret Williams separate and divorce would have been unacceptable to television audiences at that time. So, it was explained that Margaret had died suddenly off-screen. It was a risky move. Up until this time, no character on a situation comedy had died. Danny was now a widower juggling a performing career while raising 2 children on his own. Danny had Louise and his friends often looking after the children while he was still touring. He decided to move them to a boarding school but later relented and the family moved into a new apartment. During the season, Danny dated a few other women and nearly got engaged to a widowed singer until he found out she didn't like children. By season's end, the ratings had suffered and it was decided that a wife/mother was needed to complete the family unit. In a 4-part story arc that began airing in April 1957, Rusty fell ill with the measles and Danny hired Kathy O'Hara, a young Irish nurse, to look after him. Kathy was a widow with a little girl. Danny and Kathy became fast friends and Danny fell in love with her very quickly as did the kids. In the season finale, Kathy proposed to Danny and the two became engaged. At this time, ABC cancelled the series which proved to be fortuitous. In the spring of 1957, I Love Lucy, which had reigned supreme as the top-rated show for almost all of its 6-year run on CBS, was ending production. When CBS heard that ABC was cancelling the Danny Thomas Show, they added it to their fall schedule for the 1957 to 1958 season. The Danny Thomas Show made its debut on the CBS television network on Monday, October 7, 1957 at 9 p.m. inheriting the time slot vacated by I Love Lucy. The 5th season premiere episode Lose Me in Las Vegas had Danny and Kathy already married and on their honeymoon. The Williams family moved into a larger, brand-new apartment and with the change of network, the producers also changed Kathy's daughter. Leilani Sorensen was dropped from the cast and replaced by Angela Cartwright as Linda. Linda was then adopted by Danny, and the show's ratings dramatically increased. In fact, at the end of its 5th season, The Danny Thomas Show posted its highest rating at that time, ranking at number 2. During the season, Amanda Randolph was sick and rarely appeared as Louise. The majority of the season, Louise was said to be recovering from the flu and Kathy was seen doing most of the housework. In the early part of the sixth season, Sherry Jackson left the show and the character of Terry was said to have gone to a girls' school in Paris. According to an interview posted on IMDb, Jackson commented on her close friendship with Jean Hagen and why she left the series. She said, "The major perk was Jean Hagen. I adored her. We had a great time. She and I were best buddies. She was my only friend from the Make Room for Daddy cast. What made me specifically want to leave the show? I had a 5-year contract, Jean had a 3-year contract. Jean was thoroughly fed up with the series and made it clear that she didn't want to come back. When she left, I was devastated. I didn't want to continue either. I wanted to break my contract. They wouldn't let me leave, but gave me less to do. That's why I'm in fewer shows from ages 14 to 16. During season 7, the character of Terry was brought back but recast with Penny Parker. Terry was featured in a 7-episode story arc which saw her engaged and eventually married to Pat Hannigan, a nightclub friend of Danny's. After the wedding, the Hannigans moved to California and Terry was rarely mentioned and she and Pat were never seen in the program again. In the last 2 seasons, Danny and Kathy both regularly traveled and much of the 10th season they were touring Europe and Rusty and Linda were looked after by Danny's manager, Charlie Halper and his wife, Bunny. During the 11th and final season, Thomas decided to retire from the show and the program ended in spring 1964. At this time, it was still one of the most popular television programs, ranking at number 9. Cast: Danny Thomas as Danny Williams, John Hagen as Margaret Williams, Marjorie Lord as Kathy Clancy O'Hara Williams, Rusty Hammer as Rusty Williams, Angela Cartwright as Linda Williams, Sherry Jackson as Terry Williams, Penny Parker as Terry Williams, Louise Beavers as Louise, Amanda Randolph as Louise. Supporting. The supporting cast included, Sid Melton as Charlie Halper, Pat Carroll as Bunny Halper, Sheldon Leonard as Phil Brokaw, Ben Leslie as Benny, Mary Wicks as Liz O'Neill, Pat Harrington, Jr. as Pat Hannigan, Jesse White as Jesse Leeds. Notable guest stars. Hans Conried had frequent guest appearances as Danny's eccentric Lebanese Uncle Tanous. Other frequent guests included Bill Donner as Jose Jimenez, Annette Funicello as an Italian exchange student named Gina Manili, and Thomas Prota copyright Italian teenage singer Piccola Pupa. Other notable guest stars included band leader and musician Harry James, who appeared in the episode The Trumpet Player, and the legendary Jimmy Durante, who appeared as himself in the episode Danny and Durante. Episodes. Theme song. The theme music was various versions of the traditional Irish song, Danny Boy. Nielsen ratings. Note, the highest average rating for the series is in bold text. Spin-off and crossovers. The series was responsible for the creation of another long-running sitcom, The Andy Griffith Show. In the 7th season, Danny Thomas is arrested by Sheriff Andy Taylor and detained in the small town of Maybury in an episode entitled Danny Meets Andy Griffith. The episode aired on February 15, 1960 and The Andy Griffith Show aired later that year on October 3. The series also crossed over to several other series including The Lucy Dacey Comedy Hour and The Joey Bishop Show. Maury Amsterdam guest starred as Buddy Sorrell of The Dick Van Dyke Show in the episode The Women Behind the Jokes. Some episodes featured Bill Donner as Jose Jimenez, which lead to the spin-off series The Bill Donner Show. Danny Thomas played himself in one episode. Sequel. The show ended in 1964, but Danny Thomas, Marjorie Lord, Angela Cartwright, Rusty Hummer, Sherry Jackson, Amanda Randolph, and Hans Conried returned in 2-hour-long reunion specials on NBC. The Danny Thomas TV Family Reunion in 1965, and Make More Room for Daddy, which aired as an episode of the Danny Thomas Hour in November 1967. Shortly after filming the second special in 1967, Randolph died suddenly of a stroke at the age of 70. There was then a CBS reunion special, Make Room for Granddaddy, in 1969. The special did so well that it was picked up as a series by CBS, but Thomas considered the slot they gave it to a quiet slot and pulled the show. ABC brought it back on a weekly basis in 1970, in Make Room for Granddaddy. For the series premiere, Sherry Jackson reprised her role of oldest daughter Terry. There was no mention of her husband Pat Hannigan. Instead, for this new version of the series, Terry's husband was named Bill, who was a soldier. In this episode, Terry left her son, 6-year-old Michael, in the care of his grandparents so she could join Bill, who was stationed overseas. In addition to Marjorie Lord, Rusty Hummer, and Angela Cartwright, the only other returning regulars were Sid Melton as Charlie Halper and Hans Conrad as Uncle Tanoose. During that season, new characters were played by Stanley Myron Handelman and former football player Roosevelt Grier. The show lasted only 1 year, producing 24 episodes. Its cancellation came at a time when the networks were purging content favoring older, rural and other less affluent viewers due to the loss of a half-hour of daily program time in 1971. According to Marjorie Lord, the series faced many obstacles, including the unprofessionalism and inexperience of the child actor Michael Hughes. The absence of Sheldon Leonard as producer-director to control Thomas and improve the quality of the scripts. And the fact that ABC switched the time slot of the show from Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. to Thursday nights at 9 p.m. As a result, the ratings went from mediocre to poor. Episode list for Make Room for Granddaddy Make Room for Grandson /September 23, 1970, The Return of Barney Shaker /September 30, 1970, This Granddaddy is Rated X/October 7, 1970, The Great Emancipator /October 14, 1970, A Time for Loving /October 21, 1970, Is This Trip Necessary? /October 28, 1970, Teaching Linda to Drive /November 4, 1970, Tanoose the Exile /November 11, 1970, A Hamburger for Frank /November 18, 1970, The Arrangement /November 25, 1970, He Did It His Way /December 2, 1970, Women of the World, Unite /December 16, 1970, The Teen Idol /December 30, 1970, Cheating the Cheater /January 6, 1971, The Horrible Horoscope /January 13, 1971, Lucy and the Lecture /January 21, 1971, Of Mice and Minnie /January 28, 1971, Will the Real Diana Please Stand Up? /February 4, 1971, Over 30's Out /February 11, 1971, Karate Kate /February 18, 1971, The Greatest Year in the Business /February 25, 1971, The Big Hang Up /March 4, 1971, The Arm Wrestle /March 11, 1971, Monument for Uncle Tanoose /March 18, 1971. Reruns of the ABC episodes were aired Monday through Friday, on NBC from October 4, 1960 to March 26, 1965. CBS aired primetime repeats April 19 through September 6, 1965 on Monday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subsequently, most of the CBS episodes were then syndicated and offered to local stations. The first 4 seasons from ABC were not put into syndication. From February 1, 1987 to 1991, the show's 5th through 9th seasons were shown on Nick at Night. TV Land has also shown several of the Marjorie Lord episodes. Good Life Television aired the majority of the episodes from the 4th season up until the 7th season. MeTV began airing the show on Labor Day 2012. In 2014, the series joined the weekday lineup of Cozy TV. DVD releases. On September 28, 2004, Q-Star released the complete 5th season on Region 1 DVD. The set includes 2 special episodes, the 4th season finale, Danny's Proposal, and the pilot for The Andy Griffith Show. The complete 6th season on DVD was released on January 22, 2008. It was released by a different company than the Season 5 package and contained uncut episodes with vintage second-run opening credits, though not the actual network, Primetime Opens. Several of the early episodes with Gene Hagen can be purchased on discount DVDs, due to the lapse of copyrights and the episodes entering public domain. References. External links: Make Room for Daddy, The Danny Thomas Show at the Internet Movie Database, Make Room for Daddy, The Danny Thomas Show at TV.com, Make Room for Granddaddy at the Internet Movie Database, Make Room for Granddaddy at TV.com.